has, of course, been home to Andhra Pradesh as it showcases its story to the world here in Davos. Leading the conversation has been Nara Lokesh, the Minister for IT, and of course he holds many other portfolios. But if I go down that road, we'll take up a lot of time of the panel. So without further ado, let's talk about what the state is attempting to do. It has, of course, solidified its purpose as far as ease of doing business is concerned, but it now wants to transition to speed of doing business. What does that mean, and what measures are we going to see the state government take to ensure it delivers on that promise? I also have with me an eminent set of panelists who will talk to me about their aspirations and their investment plans for the state as well as for India. So without further ado, in our last conversation, Mr. Lokesh, you talked about the fact that there's a WhatsApp group that you might even set up to get investors to talk to you directly in terms of speeding things up. So have they been on the WhatsApp group already?
I think two of the panelists have my number and they're in touch with me directly.
So it's government on WhatsApp and governance by WhatsApp?
Well, it's about rewriting the speed at which India can actually deliver and showing the way to the world. I think India is one of those rare countries where we are able to deliver on speed, which other parts of the world are unable to do. And I believe this is just the beginning. The beauty of our great nation is that if one state starts it, rest will follow it. And I think that's going to put a lot more challenge on us in Andhra Pradesh and to start breaking records every time we take up a new project.
But explain to me the difference, because when one talks about the ease of doing business, one would imagine that the speed of doing business is implicit in that. How will things change now as you move and pivot to the ease of doing business?
So it's actually a very good point, right? Ease of doing business is about getting your permissions, making the entire process a lot more easy. I've started challenging my team on the service level agreements that we have on it. So for example, one of the partner who's here had an environmental clearance to be issued, but the SLA says it's 3 weeks. We got it done in 4 hours. So I believe that this is what we have to challenge every regulation that's out there, look at every SLA and truly deliver on the speed of doing business.
Okay, so how do you go from 3 weeks to 4 hours?
One WhatsApp message from me. So I got to hear we work on strict timelines with all investors in Andhra Pradesh. We monitor the projects on a weekly basis. So if a project is getting delayed, we try and understand what's the issue, and any feedback is taken positively. Even criticism is welcome, so we take it positively and we work on it. And that's how we were able to get this done in 4 hours.
But, jokes aside, how do you institutionalize the speed of doing business at scale? Because not everybody can be on WhatsApp with you, or not every decision can be taken on WhatsApp by you. So how do you institutionalize speed at scale?
I think it requires a fundamental cultural shift across, in politics, in the bureaucracy. So we are doing that. So we, from our chief minister up to your VRO, we are all talking about on speed of doing business. So not the SMEs, all of them cannot reach out to me or be in touch with me, but we want to create an environment, a culture to deliver on that. That's one part. Second is the regulatory framework. So we have now formed a group which is being advised by self-made billionaires who are giving me input on which regulation, how do we go about it, how do we streamline it, and how can we truncate the time it takes for each of this, permissions and so on and so forth. And what are the permissions that we don't even need? Why does, for example, an IT company really need a pollution control board clearance, for crying out loud? So we're going to now look at each and every regulatory framework that's there in the state, and we're going to challenge the entire team, the bureaucracy, to come back and tell us why should it even be there.
So deregulation, essentially.
Yes.
A big move on that.
Big move on that.
Sanjay, let me come to you, because your investment into the state of Andhra Pradesh made headlines with that big $15 billion announcement. How long did it take for you to make that decision, A, to go to Andhra Pradesh, and B, to get things done in Andhra Pradesh?
Yeah, I think before I answer that, let me just start by saying I'm really delighted to be here on this panel, and good to see you again, Shireen. I think first I would start and say that we have been deeply committed to India as Google. I think we started more than 20 years back. And the memory that I carry of that is that 20 years back, internet penetration for women were so low.
Yeah.
And Google did a project called Internet Sati with Tata Trust. Today, the penetration of internet for women in India is almost parity. So I feel proud that we've been committed in a deep manner. And that comes to this $15 billion investment. We have committed even more deeply to this. And I think fundamentally it's 1 gigawatt plus capacity, subsea cables, the biggest project they're doing outside America for the first time. And I must say, I met the Honorable Chief Minister and respected Minister in mid-24. It was a conversation where he laid out, the Honorable Chief Minister laid out the vision, and by mid-25 it was done. It is one of the fastest projects we have done as Google in this region. And I really feel proud it's coming from India and coming from Andhra Pradesh. And I'll build on what Lokesh, you were saying on, I think, 3 themes which I think stand out for me. One is the idea of the way the Honorable Chief Minister defined what we're trying to do is good for Andhra Pradesh, good for India, good for Google. Which means it's a partnership. It's not a contract manufacturing. It's a big shift in the mindset, how we approach it. Second, I think, is very data-led decision-making, which is transparency. You know exactly what's happening. And third thing in my mind, which is what you just said, speed. This speed of moving things is the fastest I've seen. So I really acknowledge that and thank you and delighted to not only do this, but even do more as we move in the future.
Well, you know, speaking of doing more, you preempted my question, Sanjay, because as India sort of takes the next steps as far as its AI journey is concerned, data center capacity in India much lower than the US or even China. What do you believe it will take for the AI infrastructure build out to be a reality in India? And companies like yours, I mean, how much more appetite do you have for India?
I think the reality is we have more than 1 billion Indians. The power of AI today is that the language barrier is gone. So far, the use of technology was limited by, if you knew English language well, you could use technology. But hardly 200 million people understand and speak English. So I see India moving from 200 million people deeply using technology to almost 1.4 billion people using technology. Because there is no barrier of language, there is no barrier of literacy. You can speak, text, video, whatever format that you want to engage in. So it's going to be a dramatic increase. And what excites me, therefore, is that what we have built here will need to keep evaluating how fast to build more. And I feel from my point of view, India is really best suited to take the next leap as AI comes in because we are really good in applying the models and technology for both the benefit of society and customers.
Okay, I'll come back and double down on that in just a second. But Jatin, let me come to you now. You know, it's not just ease of doing business and speed of doing business, but it's also the cost of doing business. And that is something that the state has been focusing on, specifically for the IT sector. You know, land at 1 rupee, that also created headlines. But, you know, and I want you to explain to us why that is important and why companies like yours are looking at the state.
Sure. So, a few things, you know, apart from the speed and ease, I think certainty and trust also matter. And certainty and trust comes from your ability to access the entire infrastructure of the state transparently, as Sanjay was mentioning. And you have comfort that when you have a fair cause, you will see a fair response. And I think that's a big comfort that you throw a ball and then it will bounce back. It's not going to get lost. It's not going to get sort of muddled in some other controversy, etc. We believe that we are at a cusp of rebirth of IT services industry. I think AI in our lifetime, I as a professional and many others like me, I think this is the second industrial revolution that the IT services industry is seeing in one generation, right? I started when Y2K started, and I now have AI, which is, in my view, another 25 years of journey for IT services, plus operations, plus intellectual work, everything that India can produce and deliver to the world. So we will no longer be the services hub. I think we will be the intellectual hub for the world. And to do that, you will have to now look at where you want to be next 25 years. And when we started thinking about it, I mean, Vizag came on the top of every consideration we had. We had our own checklist of things, of excess of talent. I mean, we have incredible excess of Vizag talent in rest of the southern belt of India. And if so, why not Vizag to start with? And that's where we invested. So I think, and And we got very warm and comprehensive response from Honorable Minister, Honorable Chief Minister, and therefore we went ahead. So we feel very energized now, and Vizag is one step as we are taking. I would say one thing: we have a 6 months plan on how we are going to grow in the state. So which tells you something how ambitious we are.
Well, I just want to bring up the point that you made about the fact that the next 25 years will see a transformation of the Indian IT services sector. And this has been a sector that's been a huge generator as far as, export earnings are concerned. It's also been a big employer in India. As we transition to more AI-led, what is the expectation that the private sector has from industry, especially when we talk about talent? I mean, that is the single biggest competitive